Hi, and welcome to Love on the Autism Spectrum Season 2. If you're a regular listener, please feel free to jump to about the minute and a half mark to skip this introduction. If you're new here, I want to say I'm your host, Barbara Lazzaroni, licensed marriage and family therapist, neurodivergent coach, and creator of the Neurodivergent Spiral of Life. Please call me Blaze. All my friends do. This podcast is for autistic adults, adults with ADHD or complex trauma, and the partners who love them, as well as neurodivergent couples, especially those who are tired of being told to communicate better, try harder, or fix themselves in systems that were never designed for how they're wired. Here, we slow things down. We talk about real relationships, real nervous systems, and real life without fixing, pathologizing, or rushing your process. I bring clinical experience along with decades of lived relationship experience to create a calm, emotionally intelligent space where nothing about you needs to be defended, explained, or justified. Each episode is an invitation to understand yourself, your partner, and your patterns with more compassion, clarity, and choice. We make lots of room for nervous system safety, emotional truth, and the patterns that actually shape neurodiverse relationships without blame, pressure, or performance. This isn't therapy advice. It's lived experience, clinical wisdom, and steady support for those of us who are wired differently. So take a breath, settle in. I am so glad you're here. And just a quick note before we dive in. This podcast is for reflection and education, not therapy. Licensing doesn't create a therapeutic relationship, and I'm only licensed in the state of California. Any client examples I share are purely fictional, and all of the tools or stories are meant to support your self-reflection, not replace personalized care. If you're in crisis or need immediate support, please reach out to a local professional or call 988 in the United States. Okay, now let's get to today's episode. Hello, and welcome to episode number 12, entitled Advocacy Isn't Aggression, It's Self-Protection. So let's slow down a little bit here together today. This episode is for the person who rehearses conversations in their head. Can you see me smiling? Can you hear my voice? I'm raising my hand here. And then they either over apologize or over explains or collapses or then says nothing at all. Because somewhere along the way, you may have learned that speaking clearly could cost you a connection, a relationship. So today we're going to talk about advocacy, not as confrontation, not as dominance, not as a personality type, more as a level of self-protection. So we're still in the neurodivergent spiral of life, and we are on layer 1, where we talk all about safety, identity, and self-believability. And here's the truth. You can't advocate for yourself if you don't believe in yourself first. Dr. Stephen Porges' polyvagal theory reminds us when the nervous system detects a threat, it shifts into protection. So for many neurodivergent adults, advocacy itself triggers protection responses. Those stress responses that we've been talking about last month and again earlier this month. So Fawn, where they soften or over-explain. Flight, where they totally avoid the conversation. Freeze, where they just shut down and go silent. And fight, where they escalate the intensity. So when someone says, just speak up, they're skipping what's happening in your body, your real physiology. Advocacy is not just a communication skill, it's a regulated nervous system skill. That's super important. It's not just about communicating, it's also about regulating your nervous system first. I once worked with someone who needed clear written follow up after our meetings together. Without it, they forgot details and felt really anxious. However, asking for written conversation felt like high maintenance. They told me, I don't want to be difficult. That word matters. This safety based framework reminds us when people fear relational rupture, their nervous system will actually choose connection over authenticity. So instead of asking directly, they overfunction. They took extra notes, they stayed late, they felt resentful. And when they finally asked for the written follow up, calmly, simply, guess what? Nothing catastrophic happened. What changed wasn't the environment first, it was their self believability. Nick Walker's work within the neurodiversity paradigm emphasizes that differences in communication, processing, and regulation are not deficits. They are variations that require appropriate context. So, advocacy is not about proving your worth, it's about reducing the mismatch. And the social model of disability introduced by Michael Oliver reminds us that barriers often exist in systems, not bodies. Efficacy actually means naming those barriers without apology. So here's a couple story when advocacy gets misread. In one neurodivergent couple, one partner needed lower vocal volume during conflict. Raised voices, oh, raised voices just triggered them to go to shutdown. They went to freeze. But when they tried to say, I need us to lower our voices, their partner heard, you're doing it wrong. And then the conflict escalated. What was missing wasn't the intention, it was the framing. When they shifted to, my nervous system shuts down with louder voices. I want to stay present. I want to hear you. You are important to me. Everything changed. Advocacy actually became an invitation to their partner, not a criticism. That distinction matters. So there's more than just advocating for yourself, let's say at work. There's also advocating in your relationships, all relationships, romantic relationships, work relationships, parental child relationships, all kinds of relationships. Can you just feel what it feels like when the person who said, my nervous system shuts down with louder voices and I want to stay present? Wow. What that actually did for their partner. Their partner didn't feel criticized. Not at all. Like, wow, yeah, I want to stay present with you too. So I want to share 3 tools for healthy advocacy. Number 1, regulate before you articulate. Advocacy delivered from a fight response feels like an attack. Oh yeah, we know that one. Advocacy delivered from freeze feels absolutely unclear. Take 60 seconds, slow down your breath, ground your feet. Dr. Dan Siegel's work on integration reminds us that regulated states allow for coherent communication. Regulation is not avoidance, it's preparation. So I want to say this to many of you who are internal processors, the people who have to mull it over in their brain. You might need a little more than 60 seconds. You might need 90. You might need a full 2 minutes. Okay? And those of you who are external processors, the one whose brain seems to be connected directly to your lips and everything just flows out, I invite you to take the 60 seconds at least to slow it down for your partner and for yourself. Tool number 2, use nervous system language. Instead of, "You're always overwhelming me," try something like this. "My nervous system gets overloaded with this rapid back and forth." This shifts from blame to physiology. It's really just saying, hey, it's my nervous system. It's getting overloaded. Okay, so rather than like being a character attack, it actually shifts to, this is my level of capacity. Can you help? And most partners want to help the other person. Sure, I want to help. I want to communicate with you. And number 3, drop the over explanation. Many neurodivergent adults over explain to prevent rejection. Okay, I see this especially in my neurodivergent clients that happen to have autism. Maybe it's just me, that's what I see, but they over explain to prevent this rejection. Clarity doesn't require justification. They need to say more things like, I just need some written follow-up. Send me a text or send me a note. I just need 15 more minutes. I need a break before we continue. And some language like, I focus better in quiet spaces. That's clear, that's calm, and it's complete. What happens with a justification is we go into this place where it's defend, deflect, and deny. Ooh, those are so hard because that in relationships, oh, those are communication challenges right there. Oh, and you and your partner just get wrapped up in this process that goes nowhere good, quite frankly. So remember, you don't have to justify yourself. You can just listen, take a breath. So if advocating for yourself feels aggressive, it likely means that your nervous system associates someone's voice with danger. Gotta tell you, that association absolutely positively makes sense. However, you can update the pattern. You can update the program. You can update to 2.0. You're not difficult. You're allowed to name what helps you function. That's not selfish. That is sustainability for yourself. And I want to remind you, if this is the first time you're listening, I invite you to go to my YouTube and learn more about the neurodivergent spiral of life. I just have one video on there, and that is about this neurodivergent spiral. It's explaining all 7 layers. But right now what we're focusing on is layer 1. Lots of time on layer 1. This one is so critical. It's kind of like building a house. We have to have the right foundation first. So we're looking at level 1, which is all about safety. I'm sorry, layer 1, focused on safety, sensory awareness, and early regulation. Okay. If you you can also go to my website, and please feel free to join my email list. It's in the upper right-hand corner. Just click on join the email list. And I'm going to send you 3 free things right now. One is called the Pain Awareness Zones. The other one is the Sensory Ladder Tracker and Ritual Builder. And the last one is all about neurodivergency. It's called When I First Felt Different. All 3 of these help you notice your body, your emotions, and what history have been communicating to you. So you don't need to justify or relive the past. You can use these totally free, use them slowly, in whatever order feels safest. Healing doesn't happen with fixing, okay? You'll find the link in my show notes. All right, so as we go a little bit further today, I want to share an integration story. The person who asked for written follow-up, remember that we talked about before, began noticing something really subtle. They began noticing that their anxiety decreased. Oh my goodness, how wonderful. And their resentment decreased. And guess what? Their confidence increased. Advocacy didn't make them louder, it made them steadier. And steady advocacy builds trust with others and yourself. So, as we begin to wrap up today, I want to give you 3 home play ideas. Simple, simple. Number 1, identify one need that you've been minimizing. Okay, just identify it. Number 2, practice saying it out loud, privately at first. You don't have to tell anybody else, just yourself. And number 3, deliver it once a week, clearly, calmly, without apology. This is what I need. No performance, just clarity. Okay, so as we wrap up, this week's podcast, of course, is all about advocacy. You can also read more on my blog on my website, www.loveontheautismspectrum.com, where this week's blog is entitled Learning to Advocate for Yourself Without Burning Out or Breaking Trust. That's a great title. I did good with that one. And then if you want to read on Substack, find me there. And my Substack title for this week is entitled, You Don't Have to Prove Your Needs. Oh gosh, you don't have to prove your needs. So advocacy is not aggression. It's self-protection with language. And you're allowed to protect yourself without disappearing, without escalating, or without collapsing. Yeah. And remember, all of this builds. So all of this layer 1 that we're focusing on is really important. So sometimes we can't understand how to advocate for ourselves if we don't understand where our nervous system is stressed. So if you haven't listened to the podcast yet about fight, flight, freeze, and fawn, I invite you to do that. I invite you to identify your primary one and then your secondary one. Your secondary one is usually pretty close. That's what I find with a lot of my clients. And then the third one is far trailing later. And then the fourth one is typically really, really trailing. So again, just be gentle with yourself. I can't wait to see you next week, and take care. Be well. Bye now.